Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Rayno Victor YouTube channel. Man, today you're in for a treat. This brother right here that's coming on the podcast today, on this show today, he is a legend. And I just want to read his bio before we get started so you know a little bit of who we're dealing with today. In the studio, we have none other than Dr. Ghazi Muhammad. He is an international speaker, transformational coach, and the founder of Ghazi Speaks LLC, drawing over 30 years of experience in personal development, leadership training, and resilience coaching. Dr. Muhammad specializes in helping individuals and organizations break free from internal limitations and step boldly into their purpose. A master storyteller, a creator of the Felon 2.0 framework, and he empowers high achievers, entrepreneurs, and young leaders to transform fear, excuses, and limiting beliefs into fuel for success. His powerful journey from overcoming personal hardships to becoming a leading voice in mindset and transitional coaching. He gives his unique perspective, relatable edge that resonates with diverse audiences, and through his Story Alchemy program and speaking engagements, Dr. Muhammad inspires people worldwide to uncover the hidden treasures of their story and personal experiences, and highlights those lessons in books, courses, and signature talks. We're going to give the floor to an introduction to our dear brother, Dr. Ghazi Muhammad. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the channel. Could you first and foremost, I know we just read your bio, but could you tell us a little bit about your story, who you are, just so people can get a chance to know who you are? And you can speak right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, man. I want to thank you first of all for having me on your show. I appreciate it. You're a brilliant young brother, and I always love to be around brilliant people. So, it's a blessing. But so my name is Dr. Ghazi Muhammad. I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I grew up on the left side of the train track, so to speak. My mother was a teenage mother. She had her first child at age 14, had my twin brother and I at age 16. By age 20, my mother had 5 children, had been married twice. So my mother, she dropped out of school, needless to say. She didn't have a lot of formal education, but my mother had a PhD in streetology. That woman knew how to hustle. She knew how to make money. She was that kind of woman, And as a result of that kind of lifestyle, I gravitated toward the negative side of life often, found myself getting in and out of trouble. Kicked up out of most schools I was in, suspensions and drug rehabs for teenagers, juvenile facilities, and eventually going to prison from high school as a junior in high school, facing 50 years to life in prison. I wound up getting 52 years. They ran it out into a 10-year sentence. I served 7 years on that, 48 months of it in solitary confinement. And it was there in prison that kind of solidified my desire to help and to serve. Because once I got my GED in 91, I started helping and tutoring other young brothers who was friends of mine to get their GED. And I realized that some of them couldn't even read. And we had went to high school together. And I'm like, man, these cats making money on the block. They had the women, they had the cars, but they were semi-illiterate. So when I seen that, it really inspired me to want to give back. So when I came home, I really started working with nonprofit organizations, speaking. I actually started speaking while I was in prison, and got a reputation to be what they call a dynamic speaker when I was in the walls. So when I came home, I just continued their legacy, and over the last 30 years, it's been on.
Yeah, that's powerful. Our stories are very similar. I think when I hear you, I hear myself in the fact that, so when we work on the farms, a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of people who work on the farms are former incarcerated people. Like a lot of them, or if they're not that, they're immigrants that can't speak barely any English. It's like you got these two worlds of essentially the theme of people who starting in a place where you're looked over. People don't value you. And I remember being even on the farms, I would be speaking to dudes and they'd be like telling me about their stories, what they've been through. And they all said the same thing. Stay in school, because I was a kid on the farm. They notice you. Stay in school, keep doing what you're doing. And I'm telling them about God, and we praying. It was like moments where I got a chance to encourage brothers who had been out of the system. And so like my heart was always to these guys. And so when I graduated from high school, I got a chance to be in a ministry that was actually going to jails and preaching and stuff. And I got a chance to point to people. And I see everybody as people. I don't ever look down on nobody because of my own experience. So shout out to you, man, because you really out here changing the world. And like you said, you started speaking in prison. You went to prison, you out here, and then now you're helping change the world, and you've been doing it for like 30 years. And that's my whole life. So I'm really impressed. And that's why I wanted to bring him on the show today, because we're talking about a particular subject that is very, very important. I think for all of you guys who want to consider yourself to be speakers, coaches, right, consultants, many of us, like myself, we want to write a book. All right. Look, books are hard. It's a lot of hard work. And in order for you to have authority in your space, you first have to be an author. A lot of times, I'm sure you've experienced that. You go into a space, they're like, yo, do you have a book? Right. Can you tell me about your story? And, I hear what you're saying, Brother Rayno, but like, I want a physical copy. And what Dr. Ghazi does is amazing. Okay. I'm just give y'all a little taste of what he did for me. So I just moved here to Atlanta. You guys know this, right? I've been talking about my faith move, and I was scared to move here. Everybody was like, man, Rayno, you just jump into a new city. I don't know how you doing it. But I get here and I meet this brother right here, and we just have a Zoom call, and he started pouring into me. He told me, man, look, not only can I help you, Brother Rayno, I can help you do it. Because I told him I was struggling with writing my book. I told him, man, I've been, I got this idea for Be the Victor. You guys know that's like the theme of my company. It's something that I always say to myself, I'm a victor, not a victim. And he listened to my story. He was helping me think of ways. He calls himself the Story Alchemist. And so he could take your story, you just tell it to him. And a process that should have taken me, 2 months, years, he can do it for you. And he's doing it for me right now. He's helping me write my book in literally less than a month. And I was just blown away. And I just said, man, the world needs to know about this guy, because he can help you as well. And that's why we're going to talk about the idea of the struggles that a lot of beginner speakers have, a lot of beginner authors have, especially writing that first book or that second book. Because maybe you wrote that first book, and honestly, it took you 10 years to write it. So now you're like, I ain't never going to do that again. But he can help you get to the next milestone. And so my first question for you is, Dr. Ghazi, what advice would you have for someone who is a beginner, right? They're starting on their journey, right? They've learned some things, they've grown. What advice would you give them if they're in that particular space? They know they want to be a speaker, they know they want to be a coach, but they're struggling with writing that first book. Could you speak to that?
Absolutely. So, really writing books starts with mindset, because it's most of us don't see value in our stories. So as a story alchemist, and some call me a storyologist, what I do, I like study people's stories. I listen to it intently, and I extract values. Where some people may see trauma and pain, I see gold mines. I'm like, shit, you know what you said now? That's a gold mine, what you got right there. And they didn't tell me that they'd been through all kind of traumatic experiences. But the Bible said like this: all things work for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose, right? Not some things, not most things, not many things. They say all things. So then when you look at it from that perspective right there, you got to look at it like, you mean everything that I've gone through, it can be a purpose to it. It can be something functional to this. It can be something on the other side, that equal sign, that can be beneficial to me. So what I do is I help people with their mindset first and show them that there's value in your story. And the story don't have to be the most brutal or the most gruesome story. It can be like an average story, but it's value in all stories, whether the story is good, bad, ugly, and indifferent. And what I share with people is this right here: that how when we were younger, we was taught that experience is the best teacher. Yeah. And everybody say that, but I'm one who loves to challenge sometimes proverbial wisdom. And so I know people who have experienced things over and over and over again, and they fail the first time they experienced it, the second time they experienced it, the third time. You're like, man, have you learned something? So I began to understand that it's not experience itself that's the best teacher, but I believe that in every experience that there's a powerful lesson. And that if you extract a lesson from the experience, the lesson is what catapults you to another level. So when I talk to educators and do workshops for educators, the example I use is this right here. Just because I experienced the kindergarten, I learned my primary colors. I learned my ABCs. I went to recess with my friends, kickball and music and art and all that. Just because I experienced that doesn't mean I'm going to the first grade. I have to get the lessons of the kindergarten in order to go to the first grade. And such is life. We got to get the lessons from it. So what I show people is, I listen to their story, I show them it's valuable lessons in your story that are transformative, and that if you get them, it'll not only catapult you to another level, but it'll help inspire and empower other people.
So some of the struggles that I personally had, Dr. Ghazi, I was literally in a position where I was a mission trip photographer. I'm sure I've told you this already, serving the church, serving nonprofits. And I remember after work, So from my 9 to 5 was basically prioritizing the ministries and making videos for them, taking photos. And I would go into the night editing. There's times where I would stop. Either it'd be late at night or I get up early in the morning and I would work on my manuscript, Be the Victor. And I'm working on it now. Like, if you guys don't know this, I struggle with reading and writing. So the fact that I'm writing a book is a miracle in and of itself. Like, it is a struggle for me. And so what I like to do is I'll take my phone and I'll talk into it. A lot of people don't know that. This is what got me through college. All right, talking to my phone and using the notes and then like organizing it visually like that. So I'm looking over my notes. I'm putting in my story. I'm thinking about certain things, but I think I had too much to say. As you know, I like to talk. And I think that a lot of people like myself, one of the struggles is like, yeah, you putting in all this time, you making this book, you struggling to write it. You know you have something that you want to do, but you really don't know like how to fine tune it. Because a lot of us, like myself, maybe we have too much to say. And Dr. Ghazi, he can come in and cut it down. He's like, hey, bro, look, I'm glad you got this story. I'm glad you got that story. But look, the people need to be able to read the book. You know what I'm saying? So the second group I would say is someone who may not feel like they don't have anything to say. Maybe they're not like me. Maybe they haven't thought about what they're going to write about. And maybe it's just they just need somebody to really massage the story and talk to. Could you speak to like how you've helped other people like wrestle with that? Because for me, when I spoke to him, he literally like helped me like structure things in a way that was simple. And this is the key, guys. We're trying to appeal to the general reader, right? Most people don't even like to read like myself. I prefer audiobooks. I ain't even gonna lie to you. But I do understand the power of simplifying your message and not being selfish with your story, meaning that I'm not just telling my story just for my sake, but I'm telling my story in a way that someone could glean the principles from it to apply it to their own life. So could you talk about how you help your clients do the same thing, who's struggling? Maybe they had a whole lot to say, maybe they didn't have a little to say, and share a little testimonies too.
Right. So what I do is, again, stories start with mindset. Like everything starts with mindset. So I start with the people who think they don't have nothing to say, or they have very little to say. Most times, these people, they haven't got the mindset to understand that my story is valuable. So sometimes we deal with imposter syndrome. You know, we think little of ourselves, low self-esteem, and especially if we've gone through some traumatic experiences, we really downplay that. And what happens is, just say you go through a painful experience, and just say you know me and this woman married, and she cheated on me with her husband, and with somebody else. I mean, she cheated on me, you know, with somebody else, right? And what happens is that the pain from that experience right there, it hurts me so much. I try to suppress that experience. I put it deep down. I want to forget about it. If her name was Kathy, I don't want to meet another woman name start with a K. If your name Karima, go on about your bed. I'm putting a cross up to you when I see you, right? I don't want to Karen, none of that. Nothing to do with no K. I don't want to deal with you because Kathy broke my heart, right? And what happens is I try to suppress that so far down to forget about it. I want to ignore it. But what I do when I do that is I deny myself access to powerful lessons in that experience. I'm denying myself access. So when I really dig into the story and really be transparent and vulnerable, so like my coaching program is based off the ATB methodology. That's authenticity, transparency, and vulnerability. So when you authentic with yourself, and you transparent, and you vulnerable with yourself, and you unmask yourself, it really helps you dig deep down into them stories and things like that, right? So some people just don't. The people who think they don't have nothing to say, these are people who are just not being authentic with themselves. These are people who are probably suppressed what they want to say, what they could say. They suppressed it so deep down in their mind, in the recesses of their mind, they want to forget about it. But it's really, that's where the gold is right there. That's where the wealth is. And for those who have too much to say, who think they have too much to say, what you have to do is compartmentalize it, because it ain't just about one particular long story. What it is a lesson you can get from each part of your life. So just say we exist on a multidimensional level. As a man, I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a brother, I'm an uncle, I'm a grandson. Them are all levels. Every level have stories to it. Every level got stories to it. So I don't have to talk about all of that. I can just talk about fatherhood. Talk about how I deal with my children. I could talk about being a sibling, being the oldest boy. That's compartmentalizing it. So what I do is I show people how to take their stories and like compartmentalize it and divide it into sections. They don't have to be this big, broad, overwhelming. They're like, oh man, I've been through the war, I've been to Vietnam, and then my mom was on drugs, and I ain't know my daddy, and they want to talk about all that. No, let's compartmentalize it, and then let's extract lessons because each area yields valuable lessons. So some experiences that I had, I remember when I had a podcast years ago, I remember this sister, she wanted me to interview her because she said I like the way you like deal with stories and help people, but she said to me, there's nowhere in the world you can find value in what I'm experiencing. Really? So her experience was she was of course sexually assaulted, and the person who assaulted her, she thought was a certain a family member, had a certain family member. So, and this family member was loved and respected by other family members, right? So, of course, when young girls go through that, they sometimes they think that it's their fault, that they did something wrong, and so and this happened for many years over her life. Well, when I got through with it, I say, man, they used to know the gold, man. Now, right now, this young lady, once we got finished with extracting the jewels from the experience, and when I say the jewels from the experience, it ain't that the pain was good. It's not that the experience was good, but what happens is all the pain, it produces something. It gives birth to something. It produces something on the other side of the equal sign. So it's like mathematics. If I say 5 plus 2, that's the problem. I'm not focusing on the 5 plus 2. I want to know what's on the other side of the equal sign. What did they produce? That's 7. That's what I'm looking at right there. What's the 7 is? Because many of us, we go through 5 plus 2 and we focus on just the problem on the left side of the equation. But I want to know what's on the right side. What did it make you? Did it make you more resilient? Did it make you more focused? Did it make you empathetic and sympathetic towards other women? And the more I listened to her, I found like, wow, she got a heart to serve. So right now, she's like one of the leading advocates for women who are victims of women and girls who are victims of sexual abuse and sexual violence. And so she found a sense of purpose and a sense of mission through her pain. But she would have never connected them because she thought that the pain just victimized her and like from victim to victor. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She thought the pain victimized her. She was on that level. But I'm like, no. Now she helping other people because now she able to relate. She know they struggle. She know when they don't want to talk about it. She can see them a mile away when the girls come and they resilient and they quiet. She know that quietness because she lived it. You know what I'm saying? So now she's able to empower other people and find a sense of purpose, and she absolutely love it,
Wow. Man, listen, I want to be a little selfish because you did mention my theme, my brand. I want to be a little selfish and ask, knowing my story, hearing what I've been through, I ain't gonna lie, guys. I'm a very, very simple man. My question is, okay, Dr. Ghazi, this sounds great, but how does this make me money? All right. I just came from being a mission trip photographer, working in the nonprofit space, making this much money every single year. Man, you telling me you're gonna write a book. How does this open doors for me as a budding author? Like even me saying I'm an author, it's kind of crazy, man. Actually, like the fact that I hate read is like, it's kind of hypocritical. But I will say this, there's been moments in my life where I've touched a book, I've read it, like a book like Think and Grow Rich, right? I had a physical copy of As a Man Thinketh. And there are certain books that come into your life, the Bible, obviously, the ultimate book, right? And there's many other spiritual books. But if it weren't for the power of the written page, there's certain doors that wouldn't be open. Now I'm going back to me because I'm saying, okay, you're going to help me write my book. How have you helped other clients make money? Because at the end of the day, we entrepreneurs. Everybody on this channel, we trying to get to the bag. We trying to take care of our families. What kind of doors, like for instance, for that particular person too, like what kind of doors did a book, how did that open doors for? And speak about yourself. How did books even help you? Like, did it help you make money? Did it open doors for you? Because I want to speak more. I ain't going to lie to you. I want to make money. I want to impact people. Well, how does a book help me do that? Like,
that's a good question right there, man. Thank you for that question right there. That's a good question because when I coach clients, what I tell them is that the books in themselves have not made me millions of dollars. But what the book does is the book is a key. I tell people books are keys, and these are keys to unlock doors of opportunities that probably would have been shut for you, right? So I have 7 felonies. So I can't just go get and they violent felony. I was in the street, you know, guns and all that, right? So I can't just go to the average job and be like, hey, I'm a good brother, you know, hire me. They're gonna say, okay, we're gonna do a background check. I mean, I've been there, seen that, done that, right? But so in some of these same jobs, schools, and different situations that will reject me because they judge me on the surface and they judge me about what I used to be or what I used to do without looking at me right now. What a book does for you, it automatically authenticates you. It makes you an instant expert in that field. Just say if you write a book right now on media, if you write a book on millennials or Gen Z in media, you become an instant expert in that field. And every other millennial and Gen Z, it's like, let's go to Rayno. He wrote the book on it, right? So what it does is it opened the doors of opportunity. For me, the book, I remember the first time I stepped on the college campus to speak. It was because of a book that I had wrote.
Really?
You know, and it was a paid gig, a paid experience. Okay. And actually the sister who in my first book, Straight Up 17 Lessons on Living Authentically, the lady who wrote the intro, she was a professor of the college. She was so inspired, and so I made her write. I asked her to write my intro to my first book because she unlocked so many doors for me. She's like, how do you do what you do? But so books are a key, and it can unlock anything you want to do. I don't care what it is, and like write a book on it. Write a book on it. You want to talk to young people? Write a book on young people based on your own experience. And then when you go speak as well. You got your books you can sell because I do get money from books. So you can always sell your books and things like that. But books have taken me to Africa, to an international audience. Books have taken me across the country because people say, man, like I like what he said in the book. And it had unlocked doors. So anytime any new field I want to get into, I'm thinking like, how can I write a book? How can I go into my own experiences and extract lessons in the book that will unlock the doors of that opportunity for me, you know?
Man, Dr. Ghazi, man, that was a powerful take, man. Like you literally just a former felon saying that, look, it wasn't because of his background. It was a book that got him as a key. I'm just imagining because I believe that image you just gave me of a key. Imagine you locked out your house or locked out your car, right? And Dr. Ghazi, he's like the locksmith guy. He helps you get into a door using that book. Essentially, can I say that?
Right.
And I think that's powerful, man. Just
and
like
then, and even with that analogy, it's a key that serves a dual purpose. So it's a key to not only unlock the doors of opportunity, but it's a key to unlock blockages in your own brain first and foremost. So it's your own internal key first. So what I had to do was, so my framework, my coaching framework, Felon 2.0, that was born up out of a mental prison that I was in. So no matter what I was doing for 20 years, I came out of prison for 20 years. I had mentoring programs, role model programs. I had businesses. I was an entrepreneur. I was in a newspaper. I was getting accolades. But no matter what I did, in my mind, you the son of drug addicts. So my mother struggled with crack addiction for like most of her life. You know, at least the last 30 years, she was struggling with drugs, right? Yeah. And so in my mind, I was thinking like that. No matter what I did, man, you the son of a drug addict. You know, you the son of a father who abandoned you. So I was in prison in my own mind. So what I had to do was I had to shift my own perspective of my own self in my own mind. And rather than saying I'm the son of a mother who was addicted to drugs, I started saying, no, my mother is the mother who gave birth to a son who's an accomplished author. She gave birth to a son who's an international speaker. So rather than looking at myself from the negative framework, I started looking at her from the positive framework. And what was born up out of that was Felon 2.0. Now, Felon is not for people who've been in prison per se. Felon is for people who are locked up in an eternal prison. So it's a self-imposed, self-created prison. And Felon is an acronym that's for the 5 core principles or core things that keep us limited and restricted in life. And that's fear, excuses, limited belief in ourselves, obstacles, and negative thinking. Now, once you get parole from this self-imposed, self-created prison, that fear becomes faith, excuses become excellence, limited belief lessons, obstacles, opportunities, and negative thinking becomes a new mind. So what I share with people is that prison is not a place for people who've committed crimes. Prison is a place for people who have been convicted of committing a crime. So conviction precedes incarceration, and one definition of conviction is a strongly held belief or opinion. So if I'm convicted that I'm not nothing, if I'm convicted that I ain't worthy enough, if I'm convicted I ain't good enough, I'm actually sentencing myself to a self-imposed, self-created prison. So my job is to overturn them convictions in your mind and to free you to unlock. So that key is the first step. It unlocks that door of prison in your own mind first, and then allow you to unlock the doors of opportunities for other people.
That's powerful. That right there is powerful. You see why I like this guy, man? I remember our first conversation, we were waxing deep. Like, I didn't even know my man for real. And I just said to myself, this is a soul brother. Like, I could tell just based on your experiences. This is a relationship that I'm trying to continue to develop with you as we continue to make more videos. Obviously, as you can see on my shirt, it says Media Victor Pro, right? MVP for short. You can call me MVP because I'm the MVP. Yeah, that's me, right? I'm the MVP. That's
what MVP, bro.
Somebody got to say it, right?
You know what I'm saying? Claim it, bro.
You know, if y'all don't want to claim it, I got to claim it. And so I'm just so grateful because I think when I first moved here to Atlanta, I was scared. I'm not going to lie. Whenever you move to a new city, people don't know you. They don't like you. They don't trust you. I don't care how nice you are, right? I don't care how much value you want to add to the world. I'm just not going to give my money to somebody I don't know. And so I joined this group called the Next Levels Speakers Academy. Shout out to Jeremy Anderson, Coach Crump, everybody over there. I love y'all, man, for real. If you're watching this. And we are grateful for them. And so because they had this networking group, that's how I met Dr. Ghazi. So I put literally this long text message. I don't know if you remember that text message. It's the longest text message. I told him, hey, look, I just moved to Atlanta. I don't got no clients. But my niche, my target audience is work with speakers and coaches. And I told them why. I told them my purpose. And Dr. Ghazi was the first person to respond to that text message in that group. And we got on a Zoom call. And one of the first things I remember him telling him was that, like, I believe God had us meet. Like, because ain't no way you get a dude like this come into your life without being a certain kind of person. And so you read that text message. First and foremost, when you saw that long text message in that group, like, what were you thinking? What kind of the thoughts that came in your mind? Like,
story. I was saying a story. I'm like, man, so somebody moved. I was saying the story of faith. Because you move to a whole nother place, you got to have faith. I was saying resilience. I was saying determination. So I was looking beneath, like what the text was saying. I was looking at what kind of mindset do it take to do that? And so that's a mindset of a young brother who got something in him. You know what I'm saying? Even sometimes we don't know the extent of the value we have in ourselves. But it'd be something. We just doing it. And sometimes we do things. I know for many years, I spoke for free. I did things free. And I labored under the misconception that I shouldn't get paid for this. I should just pay it forward.
I did the same thing.
Because I'm thinking that God brought me through so much. He delivered me through so much. Like, man, just pay it forward. Just give it. And I never forget the moment where that clicked and shifted in me. It was a sister who was a Christian pastor. She said to me, Ghazi, I did a keynote. And she said, Ghazi, do you get paid for this? I said, oh, no, I just something I love to do. Because I had other businesses to take care of my family and, things like that. And I said, oh, but I never stopped speaking. Always. I would travel sometime on my own dime. Wow. Just to help and just to be a part of something dealing with young people. And when she said that, she looked at me, that lady, if she like, it was a kind of look like, boy, I could smack you upside your head. What you mean you don't get paid? And she said, brother, the Bible said your gifts will make room for you and bring you before great men. And she got to talk to me, pointing to me. I'm like, man, that's some deep stuff right there, And it kind of shifted my whole mind, like, the things that we do naturally. And that's another thing I had to deal with because it was so natural to me. I didn't see it as work. It was so natural. It came so natural. I didn't see it as work. And under this capitalist construct, under the system that we live up under, our minds are trained to think about you work, then you get paid. It's monetary after work. But if I don't see it as work, then there's nothing about me say you're going to get paid for this because it's not work. It's something I can wake up 2 o'clock in the morning and do this. So in my mind, it's not work, So I had to really deal with some minds. I had to break free from my own prisons and get up out of there because it's like, no, now I don't look at work for pay. I look at transformation. How can I help transform your life? How can I have impact your life? How can I have shift your perspective in life? And that right there is a compensation for that, not necessarily work itself.
That's powerful. You know, they say some people play at what you work at. Some people work at what you play at.
Yeah, that's real.
And I was thinking to myself, like, for instance, even like setting up this podcast. So he came in here, Dr. Ghazi was like, man, he got multiple cameras.
What is all this stuff you got?
Mike, he's like, this is play for me.
Oh, see, yeah.
And you over here stressed, like,
Right.
how much is that? Like,
what's that, man? Why you pushing buttons? What you doing, man?
And so, but what you do is work to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't even want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. I ain't trying to help people write books. I'm going to be honest with you. That sounds scary to me.
See, I'm not trying to do none of this stuff, man. I ain't trying to do none of this.
That's why we're a team, man.
Yeah,
so I want to tell you that I really appreciate your mind as well. Just the idea of taking the problems that you experience and those failures or perceived failures, because I don't believe it's failures. I believe these are just lessons that the Most High gave us. And he said he uses it as a key to unlock doors of opportunities for not only just himself. It's kind of remind me of Harriet Tubman. See, Harriet Tubman, she set herself free essentially from slavery. She goes out, and instead of just sitting on her freedom and saying, you know what, I'm good. I ain't trying to help nobody else. I'm straight. You know what I'm saying?
Back to the plantation.
She went back.
Yeah, let me go get the homies. Right.
With the key.
Real talk.
You know what I'm saying? And I think the key is the mindset of, if all of our people aren't free, then I can't continue to enjoy my freedom.
Real talk. Yeah,
and so I think this is something that I've been wrestling with. I am someone who suffers with survival syndrome, someone who has this mindset that like I'm blessed. Like, I'm thinking about people who grew up the same way I did, and they're not talking the same way I'm talking, Dr. Ghazi. And so I'm saying, like, doing what you're doing, how has that helped you overcome survivor's guilt? Like, because I think a lot of successful people may have this experience. Like, even when I was in school, like, so our city was predominantly black. Like, I say like 60-70% black. But what I noticed is, as I got higher and higher up in the school system, as I got more academic accolades and success, and I really wasn't even like doing that much, to be honest, people were starting to call me an overachiever. They started calling me all these terms. And I internally, like you just said, I had this conviction that because of I'm a farm worker's son. Like, we don't come from money. We don't come. I was my own tutor at times. I was the one who I feel like if I was anything, I felt like I didn't deserve to be in certain spaces, mainly because of my color. Like, I was like, and especially in the higher level classes, we might have been 2 black kids in there versus in the regular class was more people that look like me. And so I remember just feeling like these internal battles then. Even when I went to college, first generation college student, I didn't feel like I fit there because my family, none of us went to college. It was like, so what I'm saying is, like, the idea of now I'm starting a business. Like, a lot of people can't say that. Now I'm in Atlanta. Like, a lot of people can't say that. Like, they want to be where I'm at. And sometimes I get guilty, or I feel like I'm being annoying by talking about success or principles. And even when I tell people I'm writing a book, I'm actually like not identifying with that identity of being an author. Like, even right now, because like I struggle with reading. So it's like, how does one overcome that identity shift of struggling with surviving if they're the first person in their family to go to college, or the first person in their family to make X amount of money? Even what I'm doing, someone would consider me to be successful because of their situation. If you put my situation compared to theirs, they're like, man, this dude, he gonna be all right. But there's still a part of me where I struggle. And I like your story in the sense that you were saying, even when you were successful, you remember like, man, my mama was on drugs. Like, I identify with that. I'm still struggling with that. Like, that little boy that was getting muddy and dirty on the farms, like, he was shoveling cow poop. I'm still him. That's never left. I'm still scared to fail. And so speak to that. Like, how does one overcome, being that you've helped inmates and other people as well overcome those limiting beliefs? I'm just asking, this is free advice, by the way. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. He counseling me right now, free coaching session. How do I overcome this in my own life?
So, that's why, like, authenticity is so important, because what happens is, for one, when you rewire your mind and shift your perspective to find value and scooping that cow poop and doing that, when you see value in that, oh man, it explodes something in your brain, because sometimes we equate things that are not valuable with our painful experiences, with the hurt, with the pain, with the struggle, and so we say, that ain't good then. So in our mind here, if it ain't good, and if I identify with that, then I'm not good. because I identify with experiences that's not good. But what if I can take that same experience and find gold in it? What if that same dirt up under that cow's poop that you were scooping, what if up under that was a fucking oil well? And then now you dig and you say, oh boy, eureka, hell, I just struck gold. What if it was a gold mine up under the same thing? And you find that, oh, that cow poop look real good to you right by night. Smell, it's stinky and all that, but it's looking real good to you now because you found so much value in it, so much wealth up under that experience, right? So what it is authenticity is so important. So here's the analogy I like to give people. Yeah. Just say if I came in here and I had a lion mask on, because we got to take the mask off. Yeah. If I had a lion mask on and I come to you and I say, Rayno, I'm hungry. Well, here you look at me and you say, oh, he a lion. Let me throw him a piece of gazelle. Let me throw him a piece of buffalo or, a deer or something like that. I'm going to help you out. Yeah. But then I come back 5 minutes later, Rayno, I'm hungry. You like, damn, I just gave you a whole deer. You cannot be hungry. Yeah. But the reason why I'm still hungry is because you didn't know that up under that mask as a gorilla, up under that mask as a lion, I was a gorilla. And gorillas are vegetarians. I don't eat meat. I need plants. I need bananas. I don't need that. Wow. So what happens is when you wear that mask, what happens is people come to you. Resources, people, and circumstances come to you based on your mask, based on what you're projecting. But what if you just 100 with it? Now I can see you and say, oh, he a lion. I know exactly what he need. You know what I'm saying? Or he a gorilla. I know exactly what he need. You know what I'm saying? So what happened is we project this image because we're wearing this mask because we think ourselves is flawed, so I got to pretend to be somebody else. You got to accept flaws and all. I tell people the good, the bad, the ugly, and different. You got to accept everything about your life and say, man, why did God use these ingredients? Because every experience is nothing but an ingredient. It's all an ingredient to produce a certain product at the end. It's like, why did he use these type of ingredients for me? One guy told me, a guy who wanted to be a speaker, and he said, Brother Muhammad, he say, but it's a whole lot of speakers in this area. He say, it's saturated. I say, man, well, let me tell you then. I say, KFC sell chicken. I say, churches sell chicken. Wingstop sell chicken. Lolo's Chicken and Waffle on the West Coast, they sell chicken. Roscoe's sell chicken. I say, what's the difference? I say, it's in the preparation and the seasoning. I say, they don't put your flavor on it. I say, wherever I go, I put the Ghazi Muhammad flavor on it. I ain't like no other speaker. You ain't like no other media person because you putting your flavor on it. Your flavor is unique because it's born from your own experience. All these things you went through, you putting your ingredients in. Take that cow poop experience, add that to this. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got a stinky bio, that smell like some manure. I know how to move that stuff right there. I know exactly what to do with that right there. You know what I'm saying? So you just take your experience and start finding value in it, and it'll shift your whole perspective.
That's powerful. I like what you said earlier. Most people don't see the value in their own story because I see my story, and for the longest, I think it wasn't until people like yourself, I think other speakers who spoke into me, they were like, yo, like, there's something here. You should value it, but still, like, there's like ever seen those analogies? Like, there's an angel on one shoulder, it's like I'm gonna say the fallen angel on the other shoulder. And it's like, it's still that internal voice in my head that every day I'm fighting like this negative voice saying, okay, and like, okay, how do you like control your self-talk? Because I have a little process like in the morning. That's the reason I think mornings are so important. First thing I do when I wake up is I actually have like a list of things I'm grateful for. And a lot of people do this, but here's what I do. I also have things that I regret. And I look at both of them, but at the same time, I'm trying to fight that negative voice every day. Like, what are some things that you do to fight that negative voice so you can be a victor and not a victim despite going through your own story as well?
Well, two things. Prayer, do a lot of prayer, meditation, try to read some positive things. But two, outside of the prayer and the meditation and things and reading positive books, I use the negative voice. I use it. I don't think it's an enemy to me. I use it. And I start saying, now why do I think like that? And if I think like that, so now I got to get the lesson and the negative voice. Because it's yin and yang. Both of them have power in it. If you ever look at that yin and yang symbol, it's black on one side, white on one side, but it got a speck of white on the black and a speck of black on the white. So that means in every yin, there's a little yang, and in every yang, there's a little yin. So even if what you think is a negative voice, it's still something in that for you, a lesson in that. And what you think is a positive voice, if you mishandle that and you use that wrong, it's a little negative in that right there, right? So what I do is, I use the negative. I look at it and say, how can I use that to my man? What lesson is that trying to teach me? What story, what part of the story? Because look at a car. Look at it like this. You go out to your car right now, and you got two terminals on that battery, a positive and a negative.
That's true.
Take the negative off and see if you're going to go somewhere. You're going to need both positive and negative in order to move, and adjust how life is. You need them opposing forces in order to generate that energy. You take the positive. You ain't going nowhere. You're going to need both of them connected. You need both of them connected to be giving you juice. So I get juice from both sides of me, the good and the bad, because I'm going to make bad choices because we're not perfect. Yeah. So I imperfection going to produce some bad choices, some bad decisions sometimes. And I learn from that. I'm like, oh, let me use that right there. I need that juice. So I stay plugged in. I don't disconnect myself from what I think is the negative terminal. I plug into that one too, and plug into that one, and I balance it out, and I move in. And then what I do is the direction I move in, from the negative and positive being hooked up, the direction I move in is always positive. You know what I'm saying?
Man, listen, man. I hate to be, Mr. Freeman asking for free stuff. But he just gave us a free coaching session, man. I should really be paying this dude for what he just gave me, because I believe a workman is worthy of his hire, as the Bible says. Like, if you add value, you should receive value. So him talking about those negative beliefs is the reason why I was struggling with my books. Like, I was only trying, I knew I had a positive message. I'm struggling to write my book. And if you're a beginner speaker, I think that he is the perfect person to talk to. If you're struggling with anything, if this message resonated with you, he works with people all over the world. Like, it doesn't matter your zip code, as long as you're willing to speak to someone who could help you write your first book, or maybe it's a second book and you're struggling to write it. Because reality is, a lot of people are like myself. They're not academics, but they got a great story. All right, I'm gonna be honest. Even though I've been through academia, writing ain't my strength. When I be in that writing room, I'm fighting the page. I'm fighting ideas. But he does it in a way that is so streamlined. And what I love, you do it fast, brother. Like, it's like you work like a machine. So how can someone work with you? Like, could you give us some information? Like, speak to the people and just tell them like how they can get in touch with you so that they can write their first book or whatever it is. Yeah.
Thank you for that. If you out there, you struggling, or you have a desire to write your first book, your second book, third book, or you're a speaker or an aspiring speaker, an aspiring author who want to really hone in on your signature talk, your signature story, your signature program, then you can reach out to me. My website is GhaziSpeaks.com, the GHAZI speaks.com, or you can email me at Ghazi@GhaziSpeaks.com, or you can simply literally give me a phone call, 602-544-6239, and I would love to help you. I would love to serve you, and I would love to help pull that story up out of you that'll help transform not only your life, but the lives of those you are called to serve.
That's powerful. Like I said, I can't pay him yet, because I do believe in the value of coaching. There's actually coaching calls like these. You may not believe this, but when I was making this transition, I was considering doing dentist media marketing production.
Well, what is that?
So basically, I did my research and found out that the dentist industry is one of the most lucrative industries, and there's videographers that jump into that space and they create marketing materials for dentists. And so I'm like, being the poor mindset person I said, I'm gonna do that. Not looking at my story though, that would have been a bad decision, because I don't know nothing about dentistry. That ain't making any sense. Know how I started. I literally started to survey speaker and a coach. So I hired a coach. I paid a lot of money. All right. And I was broke, but I saw the value in people like him. I paid the money. And then after speaking to me, my man literally hears my story and says, bro, you need to work with faith-based speakers and coaches. That is your lane. Stop trying to work with dentists. That is stupid, right? Now, what I think the value in the coach is that it's not that they will lead you. I'm going to say this. The value in a coach is that they protect you from your bad ideas, okay? Listen to me. I've been through this experience. I paid the money. And like I said, that's how MVP was born. Even the name, I had to run it through a coach. They were like, yo, that's fire. But, you want to avoid certain names like this and like this when you start a media company. I consulted people who did a specific thing. And Dr. Ghazi, this is all he does. He helps people write books. So if you're somebody that's like, yo, look, I'm really struggling. Not only will he does it fast, he's a professional. He's on it. I love working with this guy, and I'm excited to be able to promote my book, and it's because of you, man. So I don't have the money to pay you, but at some point when I come back, when I get right, we're going to talk, we're going to keep talking, and we're going to trade services, because I believe in investing in our community, because investing in the Black community starts right here.
Yeah, real talk.
We represent a community. Every single person here, you represent a family, right. And I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
And vice versa. My services, I'm trying to provide marketing services for speakers and coaches. we want to break bread together so that we can continue to impact and change the world. And so, yes, I don't have the money yet, but if I can push people to you, you get some clients, we get you 10 clients from off this video, man, that would be a blessing. So please talk to him, invest in his program, because he is someone that will help change your life. He said it. He's a story alchemist. He'll take your story. He's a story scientist. He's a story key driver, because the reality is, if you want to make more money as a speaker and a coach, I think you need to have that key, in that book is so pivotal. So last thing, Dr. Ghazi, do you have any words of wisdom for someone like myself? I just moved to Atlanta, right? I want specific advice. What would you tell me so I can find success here? Because this is really my first month here. I don't really know nobody for real. You really one of the few people I know here in terms of speakers and coaches. Could you give me some advice of words of wisdom as I'm here?
Say, Atlanta is a very beautiful landscape. It's very progressive. I'm learning because I've been there 4 years, and I was here over 20 years ago as well for a minute, for a short time. But Atlanta is a very progressive city. Network, like the way you're doing, get involved with the business community. It's a very progressive business community here, among our people. So get involved with the business community, like the Russell. I'm a part of the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs, Rice, off the legacy of Herman J. Russell, one of the most brilliant entrepreneurs that the ATL has produced. Very, very brilliant brother, beautiful story. And then they have other organizations like that. But just being really being out there, meeting people, networking, connecting the dots, and being yourself. Don't go with no mask on. Don't go like you the lion when you the gorilla. You know what I'm saying? Just be yourself, and it'll be authentic connections.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Listen, guys. You just got a little taste of the conversations we've been having. And I'm just so grateful for this, man. And I pray that God continues to bless you as you continue to impact and empower the world.
Thank you, brother. Likewise, I pray for your company, man.
Man, I receive that, man. Because honestly, I ain't gonna lie, I was scared. But I'm seeing doors open, and I know I'm supposed to be here in Atlanta. So for you guys watching at home, we just want to remind you guys, look, this is Rayno Victor. I want to tell you guys again, I'm going to say it 100 million times like a broken record. I am a victor and not a victim, and so are you. You can be the hero of your story. You can take charge of your life. And always remember, guys, listen, the variables in your life, the struggles that you're going through, listen, it may not be your fault. You inherited some things from your family. There's some things in your environment that you can't take control of. But listen to me, guys, control what you control, because that's what being a victor really means. It's saying it may not be my fault, but it's my responsibility. So I want to encourage you guys to keep going. And if you got a book, man, connect with this dude, man, if you want to take control of your life and make some bread too. So God bless you guys. We'll talk to you later. Peace.